Today we're talking about the 1953 North Sea flood. The 1953 North Sea flood impacted several countries. It impacted the Netherlands, Northwest Belgium, England, and Scotland. This flood was particularly devastating because it was caused by several different factors. It was a combination of spring tides and gale winds. These gale winds were recorded going 126 miles an hour at times. So they were very strong winds. And when combined with the spring tides and when they were pushing the waters towards the English Channel, this caused intense flooding. So intense that the water even rose to 18.4 feet in places. When you have these spring tides, it's normal for the water and the tides to get further and further up the land. But then when you combine them with 126 mile per hour winds coming in, you combine them with the spring tides and the English Channel, you're forcing a lot more water up the English Channel. And this is what causes flooding of up to 18.4 feet at times, which is devastating. The spring tides are an annual event that may cause flooding every year, but don't necessarily cause flooding every year. Change in climate won't really affect these tides because they're caused by gravitational pull from the sun, not the weather. The 1953 North Sea flood was damaging and harmful to several countries, but it was particularly damaging to the Netherlands. The Netherlands had about 400,000 acres flooded and about 1,800 deaths. In addition to this, England was also heavily impacted with 180,000 acres that were flooded and 300 deaths. In 1953, there was a post-war housing shortage. This caused a lot of the homes to be poorly built, and they were not built to withstand floods. This caused many of the houses to be washed away in the floods. In addition to the many lives lost on land, there were 200 lives lost at sea. Many of the lives lost at sea were passengers on the ferry, the MV Princess Victoria. This ferry was out at sea when the storm hit, and a large wave crashed over the side, rendering the ship broken and defeated. Any of the land that was flooded would no longer be useful for agriculture, as it was now saturated with salt water. After the 1953 North Sea floods, many of the governments of the countries that were heavily impacted started to deeply look into flood prevention things. For example, the UK formed the Storm Tide Warning Service and the Thames Barrier. The Storm Tide Warning Service was very important in helping countries see upcoming floods. In addition to the English efforts, the Netherlands installed locks, sluices, and other dams and many other things to prevent flooding in the future. This way, next time lots of water comes rushing through the English Channel, hopefully there is not flooding and people don't lose their lives and their homes.